Not today. We just did that shit, dude. 113.44? Are you kidding me?
4 years ago, on June 28th, 2020, speedrunner Nindede beat Super Mario Sunshine in 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 44 seconds. The first time the speedrun fell below 114, and it was no small feat. Back then, the race for the first 113 amongst Sunshine's elite runners was a difficult and intense one, the likes of which the community had never seen before. Despite having several worthy rivals and having come back from a 2-year hiatus due to health issues, Nindede, arguably the greatest Mario Sunshine runner of all time, was the first one to break yet another minute barrier, just as he did for sub 116 and sub 115. Naturally, when he got 113.44, he set his sights on 112. A milestone much more daunting than every previous minute barrier broken over the past decade. Some may say the holy grail of Sunshine any percent. Now, 4 years later, the 112 finally happened. And it wasn't Nindede? That's right. Ever since the first 113, Nindede has not improved his any percent PB, and he's been absent from the grind for quite a while now. So if he wasn't the one to get the first 112, who did? Before we begin, this video is gonna go over some previous milestones to put into perspective just how monumental 112 is for Sunshine. 10 years ago, in February 2014, Spyro Runner and Glitch Hunter, Tuval, discovered Gelato Beach Skip, a massive sequence break that collects the episode 8 shine first, skipping the need to play the first 6 episodes of Gelato Beach in order to unlock episode 7, the Shadow Mario Shine. In order to reach the end of the game, you need to collect the Shadow Mario Shines in every level, so GBS ends up saving 10 minutes, by far the biggest time save in the run. The discovery of GBS led to the record falling from a 129 down to a 119 within a month, and by the start of 2015, general optimizations led to Cathalon getting the first 118. In July 2015, the discovery of early Yoshi Go Round in Pinna Park assisted Yamata in getting the first 117. Since many players were already going for 117 before EYG, it only took a few months after the first 117 for Bouncy Boy to get the first 116. You may have also noticed by this point, most top runners are playing on the Japanese version, specifically the version 1.0 disc, which has faster loads which add up over the course of the run. This disc gives some runners some free time save, but if you're not Japanese, how are you supposed to understand the text? Thankfully, there's a solution. Mondly, the sponsor of today's video. Mondly is a language learning app that is currently offering a whopping 96% off lifetime deal that you don't want to miss. Type mondly.app/LunaticJ to access this special deal, where at a bargain price, you can pick from 41 foreign languages, and if English isn't your native tongue, you can choose to learn using one of 33 native languages as a base. You can practice using pre-recorded materials and lessons crafted by native speakers of that language, so you can really hone your pronunciation and that accent.
グラス一杯の水をください.
Test what you've learned with weekly and monthly quizzes for periodic review and recap. My favorite feature is having real conversations with this speech recognition chatbot, where if you don't have a human teacher around you, you can practice by speaking into the phone certain phrases and speak with this chatbot who will respond to your messages and give suggestions on follow-up sentences and phrases. All of this for 96% off. If you're eager to learn, don't hesitate. Click the link in the description below and get started today. That's mondly.app/LunaticJ. By 2016, a lot of the major skips and glitches useful for any percent were beginning to dry up. From this point forward, the world record is mainly improved with faster strategies and movement within the levels themselves. And by the second half of 2016, one runner was running the show. Nindide. Nindide's dedication to optimization and his incredibly brave playstyle led him to achieving the first 115, and unbelievably by the year's end, the first 114. Not only that, but Dide's first 114 was a full minute faster than second place at the time. Compared to his competition, he was incredibly ahead of his time, and even back in 2017, he made 113 his goal. He was so good that on May 20th, 2017, he set a world record of 114.40, which despite having a costly death in Bianco 6, stood strong for over 2 years. Before this, minute barriers would routinely fall every 5 to 9 months or so, but sub 114 was a turning point. With time save becoming increasingly scarce and top level play harder than ever, it took 3.5 years for the first 113 to happen. Nindide may have won that race, but it was a close battle between him and other runners like Nanashi, Ouija, and JJSRL. If 113 took this much effort to achieve, what would it take for 112? In the Mario Sunshine speedrun community, a sub 113 is commonly agreed to be the final minute barrier for any percent speedruns for the time being. To achieve a 112, you need to play exceptionally well. There's no room for major mistakes or deaths. The strats you need to go for are actually kind of ridiculous. Here's some examples of what top runners are doing to squeeze out that extra bit of time. When exiting Gelato Beach after getting that level's Shadow Mario shine, runners head for Pianta Village, where the entry is atop the Shine Gate, an area you normally can't reach without the rocket nozzle, which is unlocked in Delfino Plaza after collecting 30 shines. Since you save time from entering the pipe to Pianta Village before unlocking the rocket nozzle, Pianta Village is routed in after Gelato Beach. There are several ways to reach Pianta Village early. One fast method is rolling off of this nearby roof and performing a momentum spin jump towards the gate, where you can hover into and then do a Y-turn wall kick in order to reach the pipe. But if you want to do it a couple seconds faster, you do the fetch entry, where you do 2 momentum spin jumps to Y-turn wall kick off of an invisible wall and hover directly to the pipe. There is also the fastest EYG method, pioneered by Inkstar. In the past, it was optimal to use 2 stomping stews, one to clip into the park out of bounds, and one to use as a platform to ride to the Yoshi Go Round. Later on, runners like JJ would often do a faster 1 stew EYG, where you clip into the park by dismounting Yoshi so he clips into this edge while luring a stew, which would usually pound the ground twice. Now, not only are people doing the 1 stew method, but they're doing it with the stew pounding down only once. There are also some ridiculous Shadow Mario quick kills, such as the drive-by in Rico 7, pioneered by Reed, where you save an additional second from a close-range Y-turn spam spray from a slide, hence the name drive-by. The Noki 7 quick kill is especially ridiculous, and was also what helped Dide get the first 113. This is just a sample size of the many little time savers that really add up over the course of a run. On top of needing to implement optimizations like these, you also need to be decently lucky, as Sunshine speedruns are notably infamous for some run-killing RNG. The Petey Piranha rematch in Bianco 5, where Petey will choose to fly in different patterns, flying to different nodes at random. And among these nodes, there are only a select few where he can be knocked down. This is a common early reset point. The end of Pianta 5, the infamous Chuckster level, has the last Chuckster randomly stop during his walk cycle, and you could lose up to 20 seconds if he's not in a good throwing position to the shine. However, in recent times, top runners have such fast movement in the level and great precision when talking to the Chucksters that they're able to outplay the RNG of the level, making it much more skill-based than ever before. The King Boo fight in Serena 5, on the other hand, is a literal slot machine, where in between 3 fruit cycles, in which you use a pepper and then a fruit to damage King Boo, you can get extra junk cycles that waste 7 seconds each, with no cap on how many extra cycles you can get in a row. The boss fights against the Manta in Serena 1 and the final fight against Bowser in Corona Mountain can also be quite annoying, with stuff like random Manta movement and Goop splashing Mario respectively. While you don't need perfect RNG to get 112, good RNG is crucial for PD and King Boo especially. Now that I've gone over what it takes to get a sub 113, who are the contenders? Well, there are quite a few players capable of 112, based on having a sum of best of 111 on their splits. The sum of best is the sum of a runner's best segment times across the whole run. With a run over an hour long, it's unrealistic for anyone to get a run within a minute of their sum of bests, but it is a good indicator of their potential. There were several talented runners who, with enough practice and dedication, could get a 112, including Nanashi, Reed, Urbani, Rimato, and Orange to name a few. The latter is actually a strong contender for the world record, but today I want to highlight the top 3, the 3 runners that are just a bit ahead of the rest. First, there's a runner that I previously mentioned, JJ. He's been running Sunshine for quite a while, but started as a bit of a prodigy. In 2016, at the age of 13, he managed to get a 119, a very impressive PB for the time, especially at such a young age. As the years went on, he got even better and developed a reputation as one of the game's most consistent runners. He set his first any percent world record on September 15th, 2019, beating both previous records set by Nindere and Ouija. He hasn't left the top 5 since. Last year, he beat the any percent record again with a 113.08, beating the previous record of 113.17, which had stood for 2 years. While JJ has been around for nearly a decade, the next contender has been a rising star since the pandemic, an Inkstar. For when he started submitting times on the leaderboards until 2022, he was steadily improving, but from then onwards, Inkstar has been on a meteoric rise. In the span of 2022 to the spring of 2023, Inkstar went from a mid-116 down to a 113. Since then, he's been closing that gap between him and the world record. Out of all of the Sunshine runners, Inkstar is the only player so far to have a sum of best in the 110 range. His movement and the strats he goes for are absolutely stunning. There are some days where he plays like the best player to ever set hands on a GameCube controller, getting on some insane mid-game paces faster than literally anyone else ever. Unfortunately, Ink has often been the bridesmaid, never the bride, and had yet to take the record for himself. The 2 contenders I mentioned so far are both fairly young, in their 20s, and only have ascended to the top 5 within the past half-decade. But last and certainly not least is a runner who's been around for even longer. Often in competitive gaming, many top players enjoy their time in the spotlight before they either can no longer keep up with the new generation, or they simply lose interest and move on to other endeavors. But sometimes, there are exceptions. Sometimes, there are players so good, so passionate, so dedicated that they're able to still be the best, even over a decade or 2 later. Remember that other record I mentioned that JJ beat? The 113.17 that lasted for 2 years? Well, before JJ beat that time, this player happened to tie it on July 30th, 2023, 10 days before JJ. Not only was this player a world record holder, but he has previously done so more than any other player. World records set across many different eras of Sunshine's history. The Bouncy Boy era, post-GBS, pre-GBS, and even as far back as 2011. In the words of Average Trey, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but this old dog could learn just about anything. One of the OGs of Mario Sunshine speedrunning, Tobo. Not only did he still have it in him, but he was more consistent than ever, having completed over 60 113 speedruns. Heading into June 2024, the 4-year anniversary of the first 113 was approaching. and the competition was fiercer than ever, especially after Inkstar got a 1:13.17 of his own. A race between Fresh Ink, the OG, and the JJ in between was officially on.
Yeah, GG. I didn't want a PB anyway. I don't think there's anything more demotivating than that. That actually just sucks. That wall kick just killed off the entire run. Just single-handedly just killed off everything. What a sick joke, man. Yeah, I don't even want world record, apparently. Don't know what to say. I didn't want it. Just didn't want it, apparently.
On June 9th, 2024, Tobo achieved the first 112, in what may possibly be the final minute barrier achieved by a human for Super Mario Sunshine any percent. With this record, along with his reign across different eras of the game's history, Tobo has a case for being the greatest Mario Sunshine speedrunner of all time, at least for any percent. Either way, huge congrats to Tobo for setting yet another historic run. If you're interested in learning more about him, I highly recommend this criminally underviewed video all about him by Average Trey. I promise you won't be disappointed. If you're interested in running the game, feel free to join the Sunshine Community Discord, as it has many resources to get started, and people are very eager to help. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to shoot for the moon.